say the photograph was taken by astronauts on December 7th, 1972 at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is one of the most widely distributed photographic images in existence. The image is one of the few to show an almost fully illuminated Earth disk. Earth disk? That's an interesting choice of words. Okay. And the astronauts had the sun behind them when they took the image. To the astronauts, the slightly gibbous Earth had the appearance and size of a glass marble, hence the name. Well, since they gave us the exact date and exact time they supposedly took this picture in space, I decided to go to timeanddate.com and then use the day and night world map feature. Now, this website is really cool. It'll actually show you which countries and continents are in daylight and which countries and continents are at nighttime at any given time that you type in. So I typed in that exact date and that exact time, December 7th, 5:40 in the morning, and this will show you which areas are supposed to be in night and which areas are supposed to be in day. It's pretty easy to read. Now, when we look at the blue marble, we can see that Africa is lit up. We can see the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia and Yemen, is lit up. We can see Madagascar. We can see a little of Antarctica. But other than that, we don't see a whole lot of land masses lit up. So that would mean all the other land masses would have to be on the other side of the Earth in darkness. However, when we go to timeanddate.com and we type in December 7th, 1972, 5:40 a.m. in the morning, Africa is indeed lit up as shown on the blue marble. However, South America should also be in daylight. Europe should also be in daylight. An entire chunk of Russia should be in daylight, and the western end of Australia should also be in daylight, yet none of these places are featured on the blue marble. So therefore on the blue marble they would be on the other side in darkness. As the astronauts said, they took the picture with the sun behind them. So this is a major flaw, a major glaring hole in the blue marble. And literally anyone within a few minutes can take the time and convert Eastern Standard Time to other world times and find out all these places should be in daylight, such as Rio de Janeiro, 6:39 a.m. should be in daylight. Helsinki, Finland, 12:39 should be in daylight. Moscow, Russia, 1:39 should be in daylight. Perth, Australia, 5:39 p.m. should still be daylight. I think this more than proves, folks, that this photo is not a correct representation of Earth.
certainly the highest off the ground I have ever been. We're coming up on 60,000 feet, 12 miles above the surface of the first sea level. Slam fly with me from side on 60,000 feet, 12 miles above the surface of the Earth. The sky has gotten to be a very, very dark blue. What an unbelievably beautiful day. And from this height, 67,500 feet, the edge of our planet has a definitive curve to it. It is more three-dimensional than I have ever seen it. There we are. Ladies and gentlemen, 70,000 feet.
This photo from Grandmere State Park. This is from Joshua Nowicki, and what you're seeing here is a mirage. We typically would not be able to see this from the Lake Michigan shore. We talked about this last night. Conditions are right on the lake that we're actually seeing a mirage of the Chicago skyline. Very interesting here. Here's what's happening. This is a good example of a superior mirage. So Joshua was on the Lake Michigan shore. He was looking towards the west, and Chicago's beyond the horizon, should not be able to see it. However, with the right conditions, we have an inversion. We have cold air near the cold lake water and some relatively warmer air above it. This will bend the image of that skyline back towards the viewer. And so typically we would not be able to see this. This image would be viewable from much, much higher in the sky, up in space.
What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
So these are the kind of things, and I know there's a ton more observations like this throughout the world. All right, so let's watch this first video. It's obviously not in our language, or it's not in English, it's in French. But let's start out with this one. All right, turn that volume down. So what we're looking at is we're looking at a sunset taking place a couple times a year only, because it's when the sun sets in this certain location. So we're going to be fast forwarding a little bit here. Well, you can see it start to happen about right here. So keep your eye on this and you'll see that clearly we are starting to see some peaks behind or in front of the sun. And as the sun progresses further along, you're actually going to see it even better. Fast forward a little bit. And this is a known observation, and like I said, there's people that actually go out to look at this. People have taken pictures before. So what are these mountains to the globe heads that believe that things magically lift up due to refraction and get placed in at the end of the horizon, which I think anybody who just really uses their head and not just listens to what people are told, then they'll know that that doesn't happen, that the light does not bend these things up. So we'll keep watching this. Then we're going to go back over to... So these are the kind of things that, of course, they're not going to be able to answer, so they're just going to have to resort to calling people names, saying that they're stupid, simply because they don't believe what they're told when they do. So you'll see here that peak there is the Canigou Peak, the one we were looking at. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go jump over real quick and look at the... See if I can find it. My browser. Here we go. Okay. So now we're looking here at the Earth curvature calculator. I put in 1,000 feet at the eye height, even though I believe they report to be less than 800 feet. Let's put in 1,000 feet for fun. Target distance is 163 miles is the peak of that mountain. Calculate that out, and we get 10,296 feet below the horizon. So again, that mountain is 8,500 feet at the very tip top, and so you've almost got 2,000 feet extra that you shouldn't be able to see, let alone any of that mountain. Any of it. Not just, oh, we shouldn't be able to see the tip, or why are half the buildings blocked, or all the nonsense from the Michigan to Chicago site. This one here is absolutely, completely, and totally impossible